make me wanna shout, kick your heels
Felt like the kid that didn't do anything in the class project but got an A.
This is a very atypical video for me because I always get you guys my post-game reactions instantaneously, and I think this is the very first time in my entire career that a loss messed me up so badly that I just couldn't make the video right then and there. I usually do, I couldn't. It's never happened to me for the entirety of my career. I needed to gather my thoughts so I could give you my thoughts to the best of my ability here. So before we get to the content, we're 1,000 subscribers away from hitting 800,000 subscribers, which is an achievement I didn't think we'd ever get to when I started Mikerophone about 4 years ago. And from the bottom of my heart, man, I have so much gratitude for all of you. Tremendous appreciation for each and every one of you supporting my content through the good videos and the not so good videos, through the takes that you agree with and the takes that you don't agree with. I'm just happy I have an awesome community that I can sit down and talk football with. So from the bottom of my heart, I wanted to thank each and every one of you for changing my life and being the main source of my happiness each and every day. Now that we get all of that out of the way, break! We made $1,100 off of a $20 entry on Prize Picks. And it wasn't just me, it was everyone that followed these picks on my Instagram story. And the best feeling is the amount of people that made money as a result of this. I mean, bam, bam, bam. Bam! My DMs were flooded, so the best part for me was seeing you guys make money as well. But we're not done yet. PrizePicks has a promo for a free square. All Kevin Durant needs is to score 1 point on Christmas Day, which means we only need to get 1 pick correctly in order to make some more money. If you haven't signed up for PrizePicks, use my promo code Mikerophone to double your deposit up until $100 on PrizePicks. And I give away my picks on a daily basis for free on my Instagram story and now my Snapchat story. We're having so much fun doing this. I'm so happy that I made you guys some money, and thank you PrizePicks for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? If you guys follow me on my Instagram, or if you follow me on Snapchat or even on X, you know that my takes on those platforms are definitely slighted towards the Dallas Cowboys. But over here, I could give you guys my full analysis on what I think about that game against the Buffalo Bills. And in the case of the Buffalo Bills and the Dallas Cowboys, this game was a must-win for both sides. We already made a video on the Buffalo Bills. Their season was going horrifically. Definitely not according to plan up until this point. The thing about the Buffalo Bills is they have a tremendous amount of talent, an incredible coaching staff, and if you could get hot in December, then you could carry that momentum into the NFL playoffs. But in the case of the Dallas Cowboys, I've always been cautious about feeling optimistic about their season. Yes, I'll run around on X saying, this year is our year! But my number one concern with the Dallas Cowboys for the entirety of the season was, one, are you capable of beating good teams? Are you capable of taking back leads when opposing teams start out with a huge lead? Can you depend on Dak Prescott to get you out of bad situations? And in the case versus the Buffalo Bills, I felt like that they had a great opportunity to see whether or not they would be able to do any of those things. The Cowboys were coming off of their best win of the season versus the Philadelphia Eagles at home, which, by the way, Cowboys are undefeated at home, and had to go to Buffalo in freezing cold temperatures to face off against a desperate Josh Allen and Buffalo Bills team who recently fired their offensive coordinator. I'm assuming the way the game plan went for the Dallas Cowboys is they were expecting a lot of Josh Allen drop back passes, or passes out of the gun, or passes in general. They weren't expecting a game where Josh Allen would have sub 3-digit passing yards and for him to come out and conduct this interview.
I don't think I threw the ball that many times, which, again, I don't just get it done. Let's just find a way to win, and felt like the kid that didn't do anything in the class project but got an A.
But unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. If we're talking from a pure X's and O's standpoint, the Buffalo Bills exposed the Dallas Cowboys' biggest weakness and put it on national TV for everyone to see. And that's the fact that the Dallas Cowboys weren't capable of stopping the run. The Buffalo Bills came out and scored a quick touchdown, establishing the lead for themselves. Following that, the pressure was on the Dallas Cowboys offense to put points on the board. They weren't able to succeed succeed at that. And at that point, all the Buffalo Bills did is just run James Cook over and over and over again. Now, I will admit, I wasn't particularly a fan of the refereeing in this game. I mean, I just felt like it was inconsistent. I don't think this is the sole reason the Cowboys lost. Rather, I felt like this was a huge reason why it became a 31-10 blowout. For instance, I feel like the fumble that Stephon Diggs had earlier in the game is more on Mike McCarthy for not getting the challenge flag out fast enough, challenge the play, as opposed to the refs. When Mike McCarthy was asked about it, claimed that he couldn't get the challenge flag out quick enough, whatever that's supposed to mean. I would say that's more the Buffalo Bills offense doing something brilliant, which is running a play very quickly so the Cowboys couldn't challenge it, as opposed to the referees doing something incompetent. The Buffalo Bills got some bad calls as well. I mean, this slide by Dak Prescott was apparently unnecessary roughness, but there was also a penalty on the Dallas Cowboys when Zach Martin ran up to defend his quarterback at the same time. So I guess those penalties offsetted. But then on top of that, there was this one penalty that kind of drove me a little crazy. And I felt like this just indicates the inconsistency here. At the very top, Dak Prescott didn't get a roughing the passer penalty, but at the very bottom, Josh Allen did. And then in some of these instances, there were just some unfortunate plays that didn't go the Cowboys' way. For instance, Sam Williams almost had a blocked punt, but instead he ran into the punter, which resulted in roughing the kicker, which gave the Buffalo Bills another first down, which resulted in a Buffalo Bills touchdown. Of course, as there is in every single game, there were a lot of holds that weren't called, but I feel like that's just the nature of football. And it seemed like every single time there was something that was in the air, it just wouldn't go the Cowboys' way. Like, I don't know, do you think this unnecessary roughness call on Jaron Kearse was the right call as well? I'll leave that for you guys to interpret, because I don't want this to turn into, oh, the referees screwed the Cowboys. Because at the end of the day, there were major problems in this game that the Cowboys need to address if they want to go anywhere in the playoffs. First things first, I hate to admit this, but it seems like we have a huge problem that is going to end our season prematurely once again, and I firmly believe that. When the Cowboys got brutally on national television, I still have no idea how the NFL allowed this content to film on national TV a few months ago when the Cowboys faced off against the San Francisco 49ers. The one thing I was saying each and every single week since then was,
we learned from it. Our offense has come a long way. There's no way something like this will happen to us again.
And then it happened to us again. It was like I was watching the same exact game once again, down to the T. The moment that Dak Prescott felt like the game was out of reach, he was making stupid turnovers. The Dallas Cowboys couldn't generate any offense at all. Hell, the Cowboys even scored the same amount of points as they did against the San Francisco 49ers. It was on the road, like when they faced the San Francisco 49ers. And until the Cowboys could successfully win on the road, I can't take them seriously as Super Bowl contenders. And I want to, believe me, I'm a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan. My parents cursed me with that since I was born in Dallas and grew up watching the Cowboys. Hell, I can't even remember the last time they won a Super Bowl. I was like 2 years old. But the fact of the matter is, if they can't win on the road, if they cannot overcome these difficult obstacles, if they cannot beat good teams that they should be capable of at least beating or at least hanging in there, like when we lost to the Philadelphia Eagles on the road, I gave it up to the Cowboys because they played a good game. We hung in there. But against the Buffalo Bills, we got absolutely dismantled. And the thing about Dak Prescott, every time he's getting blown out, it seems like he becomes a worse and worse QB as the blowout goes on. Like when the Cowboys were down 31-3, just threw this like YOLO interception and completely misread where CeeDee Lamb was gonna be. Bro was literally like, well,
Brock Purdy had a good game, so no chance I'm going to win MVP now. Here's a pick for the Bills.
And here's the worst part. If you want to hear from Dallas Cowboys media why the Cowboys performed so badly, their reasons are, well, there was no Jonathan Hankins, so this created a rushing field day for opponents. Let me start by saying that if Jonathan Hankins was playing on Sunday afternoon, I still think James Cook runs for more than 100 yards. He was simply built for a career day with his field vision and the game plan from Buffalo to lean on him in the rainy situations. Seeing Cook build confidence by attacking the A-gap early and often allowed for a rushing field day in other areas that had to crash and help. Here's to the hope that Jonathan Hankins can heal up in the next week and return for Christmas Eve. So you're saying that even if Jonathan Hankins was there, we would get cooked, which by the way, we would, because with all due respect, Jonathan Hankins is the biggest liability on our defensive line. He is not good at anything. And we could get away with it because we have Micah Parsons, Osa Odigizua, and DeMarcus Lawrence on that defensive line. Jonathan Hankins has never been good at anything since 2020. In 2020, he was a decent run defender, but over the past 3 years, he has been a huge liability in both pass rushing and in run defense. But prior to that, he was actually pretty good at it. But we're talking about 2019 and 2020. So Jonathan Hankins wasn't gonna save you today. You could say a bunch of other stuff. You could say the Cowboys are bad in the cold. I'll accept it. You could say the Cowboys stink on the road. I'll accept it. You could say Zach Martin being unavailable definitely generated even more pressure on Dak, who was already under a lot of pressure because he was playing from behind the entire game. I'll accept it. Don't say that the Cowboys weren't able to stop James Cook because they didn't have Jonathan freaking Hankins. With all due respect, that's just ridiculous. At the end of the day, what I believe happened the most was the fact that the Cowboys weren't expecting the Buffalo Bills to come there and just run James Cook over and over and over and over and over and over and over, which is fair because they have Josh freaking Allen under center and Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis and Dalton Kincaid, who's really starting to step up. I didn't expect us to go scoreless because the Buffalo Bills defense, when fully healthy, they're awesome, but they're not fully healthy right now. So the fact that we weren't even able to get points up on them is more concerning. The good news is the Cowboys will have the opportunity for redemption as they face off against Buffalo's division rival on the road next week at Miami. It's very tough to go into Miami and win. And I really hope that Tyreek Hill is at full strength. I really hope this team is as healthy as can be, because if we could beat Miami on the road, at least that's something that could give me confidence as a Cowboy fan going into the playoffs. But right now, if you can't beat Buffalo on the road and you go to Miami and you lose to them on the road, how am I supposed to feel confident that you'll be able to do anything different once we get into the playoffs? What's the difference between this Cowboys team and last year's Cowboys team that put Zeke under center as their final snap of the game versus the San Francisco 49ers, and the Cowboys team from 2 years ago who decided to run a QB draw during the most inappropriate circumstances? At the end of the day, the biggest criticism of Mike McCarthy during the Mike McCarthy era is the fact that he isn't the greatest whenever it comes to making adjustments. And when Mike McCarthy was asked about the fact that they're struggling on the road, all he really could say is that they're working on it.
We play so well at home, and there's just too big of a gap in our road games. Yeah, we're conscious of it. We've got a long flight home to continue to talk about it, think about it.
Well, the season's almost at its conclusion, and the Cowboys are looking like they might be another exit in the divisional round, if we even make it there. So we have a chance at redemption next week against a team that is incredible at throwing the football, running the football, rushing the passer, stopping the run, has one of the most dynamic cornerback duos in the NFL. If we could come out with a win there, then obviously I'll have some more confidence. But if not, my confidence is definitely shaken as a result of this game. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about all this? Do you think the Cowboys are contenders and they just had a minor step back, or they're pretenders? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.